which one's silent? The L is silent. The L is silent. Wolstenholme.
Oh,
Wolstenholme.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that's my gold star for the day. I'm gonna wear that with pride all day long.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
Chris
won't be saying the
Wolstenholme,
last name. So
right? With Mate, the thirsty Australian, which we'll get into what this is in a second. It's a fascinating story. Um, Also, welcome to my co-host this morning, Sam Anderson. Shout out to our sponsors, Frontline and Bev Assets with Sam and Alicia Vargo. Myself and Alias Advising, Ryan Halliman and On the Rocks Advisors, and Jay Williams. And Sam, do we have our obligatory Freebird can for the morning? Yes, we do. Beautiful.
yeah, I do this for free water. I'm earning it. I'm earning my water. Jay, I'm running out of water. By the way, I'm starting to get thirsty.
Oh,
There's other people online. Maybe Mate might be
time for a
joining
re-up.
us as a sponsor soon.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. We're
Uh,
always looking
well,
for some. That's for sure.
that's right. So, Chris, I'm not even going to try. Normally, I would tee it up, but your story's so unique. I'm going to let you tell it straight from jump. So, who the hell are you, and what the hell are we doing here? What beverage are we making?
Sure. So, firstly, thanks for having me on. Adam, thanks for reaching out. Obviously, our story goes back a couple of years, and we'll get into that later. But I'm just going to hit you with the pitch, right? I say this pitch hundreds of times a week. I do it at all the tastings. I do it at all the festivals. I do it at everything. It's the easiest thing for everyone to understand what it is that I have. So, because it's a one of one, we're the only one in America. So it is a bit different. So Mate is America's only vodka protein water. Okay, now I know that sounds a bit weird. Stay with me. 8 grams of pea protein per can, vodka, then zero carbonation. Okay, discovered in my mid 30s that I developed heartburn. So that was a good time. So we took out the bubbles. Thanks to the pea protein, we're gluten-free, dairy-free, we're actually vegan as well. And then we don't use any high fructose corn syrup. That stuff is just the worst. We sweeten it with cane sugar, which only 2 added grams per can. So it's not a super sweet sugar bomb. And then we do it in 4 different flavors: peach, pineapple, watermelon, and lime and mint. That's it. There's the
As I
card
said,
right there.
look at the
It's the
can up
marketing,
here. I've
the
got
fun marketing bit. And
you
there's the
can't
can. There's
you can't see the backside of my computer obviously, but I've already got the little koala on the back of my
So
computer. Thank you for the
so
stickers.
protein. Everybody wants protein. My wife comes back.
those two things.
Chris, my wife comes back and says, "Hey, I just got you a matcha green tea with protein, and you were doing this 4 years ago, so you were ahead of the curve."
Yeah, so we came up with the idea. Take it another year. My girlfriend, she's now my wife. It all worked out. Something's missing. I don't know what's missing. Something's missing. And she look at me and she go, "You're an idiot. This is America. We've got everything. I don't know what you're talking about." Right? So we fly back to Australia. A friend of mine gives me a call and he goes, "Hey, can you pick up a couple of bags of ice and a case?" Right? Sure, no problems. We're in the car and we drive into what is a drive-through liquor store. So basically, it's a big shed, right? You drive straight down the middle. Person walks up to you. You open up your boot. You tell them what you want. They load it up. You pay, and you drive away. And my wife was like, "Oh, we don't have these. These are amazing." And it got me thinking. I was like, Americans will sit in their car for 15 minutes at Starbucks for a coffee rather than go in for 2 minutes. So why is this not a thing in America? Now, I discovered it is. Texas has a couple. I think Michigan has them. And a few other places have sort of drive up windows, but not so much drive through, which is what I wanted. Okay. So I started working, got my green card, started doing the whole thing, and then COVID hit. And having worked in restaurants my entire life, right? You work 60, 70 hours a week. That's basically the standard. And all of a sudden I'm working 35, right? So I had all this time on my hands. So during COVID, right, instead of sitting there and watching series on series and Tiger King and everything else, I wrote a business plan, okay? And in that time period, in the building, shelves were up. We were 4 weeks from opening, and the state gave me said, "We made a mistake. You are too close to another liquor store, and you can't open there." And I was like, "Hold up a second. I've done everything right, and you're telling me now I'm opening in 4 weeks. I'm already hiring people that it can't be done." And they're like, "Yeah, that's exactly what we're telling you." So I pulled out. Long story short, pulled out. Ended up losing 50 grand. Okay, that's not a great, feeling. So, turn around to the wife, and I'm like, "You know what? I'm not happy, but if I make you happy, I'll probably become happy at some point." So we go out for pizza and beers. My wife's from the Midwest. She's from Iowa. There's this pizza out of the Midwest. If you're not from there, it's called Taco
There's some good
Pizza.
people from Iowa on this call, by the way. There's named Adam's an Iowa boy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know all about them. And we go out, have a couple of beers, and she's like, "What do you want to do?" And at the time, I was going to partner with a brewery to bring my favorite beer over from Australia. We were going to make a version of, sort of brew it here in the US. And I was like, well, the craft beer industry is not great right now, and I don't think it's going to get better for a while, right? And it would appear that I was true. Breweries are closing every week. But I was like, the RTD space is definitely the one that's growing. So I wouldn't mind doing that. So we kept talking, kept hashing out the idea, just kept throwing ideas back and forth. And it was actually, why can't I get protein in this? It's like, you walk around Target, you walk around Walmart, you walk around all these places. Why can't I get protein in it? So it got me thinking. Now, most ideas die at the conversation. You have this great idea, you go to bed, you wake up, it's gone. Well, I'd had enough drinks by this point, and it was mid-afternoon, that instead of the project dying, I just started. I just started researching and started drawing and started doing all the ideation, which is where, the next day after
This
that.
start on a napkin at 12 midnight in a bar?
This started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon
Okay.
on a napkin in a bar, in a pizza shop. So yeah, and then everybody I've ever said this to, I know it's a bit weird, but I didn't start out building a business. I started out trying to make a drink, and then I built it from there. So in front of the other, one line on a notepad after the other. I just ended up partnering with BevSource, right? They were a wonderful, resource. The people were great. Everyone was that, everything that I had partnered with, I felt was really good. The price was right. And, we got to work. And then 13 months later, out popped a can of Mate.
It took 13 months to get your product to come to market. So you just don't find someone like Adam and BevSource and make it a month later. There's a whole process behind that.
There is a huge process, and especially when you're doing something brand new for the first time. I mean,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
the TTB and the FDA wrapped us up in red tape for, I'm going to say 4 months, maybe a little longer. And that's with 5 legal teams working on it. I had 2 of my own. I had BevSources. I had the TTB, FDAs. And that was quick. That was.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and it just takes time to do.
So I want to spend. I mean, the operational aspect of it is fascinating. We could spend hours just you and I talking about that. But I want to take that vein and look at it from a more customer facing perspective. And we do have cans here. Obviously, we'll try before we get off the phone.
Sure.
But I'm really curious, and for anybody listening, I mean, I tell people on average it's 8 months to go from idea to first can, and people are like, that's absurd. I was like, I said on average because I've seen people do it in 3 to 4. I've seen people take 2 years. So fucking calm down. 8 months is the average, right? And I'm curious. So you get all this made after 13 months, which is a good timeline given what you're making, right?
100%, yeah.
Difficult as it may have been. And then you've got to go educate the masses on this. So, like, where did you start in terms of selling it? That's part of the story I don't know.
Yeah, so people might not realize this in the alcohol space. I'm sure there's plenty of people listening that are in the alcohol space, but anyone that isn't, alcohol runs on the 3-tiered system. So it's me, then you have to have the middle person, the distributor, and then you have to have the store.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people making decisions on your behalf that you have no control over. So
Mm-hmm.
and I would recommend this to everyone else. So if there is somebody out there listening that is making their own drink or that sort of thing, this is exactly what I would recommend. My very, very, very first store was my local liquor store. Okay, it was the guys that I bought booze off. They're Indians. We used to talk about cricket all the time. I had spent thousands of dollars, right, buying tequila and champagne and beers and anything else that I was
building your
so
backyard is what you're saying. You build your
literally in my
backyard
backyard.
first.
They are 4 minutes up the road. Okay. And I walked in. I was like, I just pulled the guy aside. I was like, look, this is going to sound fucking weird. I've made a drink. I need a store. I just need one to start. Can you help? Right. And he's like, look, yeah, we can bring it on. It's a small store, right? It's not a total wine size. It's, you know, a pretty standard strip mall store. He's like, yeah, but if it doesn't sell, I've got to be real with you. It doesn't stay. He's like, I will give you your shot, but if it doesn't sell, it doesn't stay.
What'd you do to ensure it sold?
Well, so you start to the first people you sell to are your friends and family. Right? That's the very first lot of people that you sell to, because they're the only ones that know that you've done it, right? I'm not a celebrity. I'm a middle-aged white guy living in Marietta/Kennesaw, Georgia. Like I don't have 400 million followers. Okay, I just have me. Right? I just got little old me and maybe 800 people on Facebook, and even worse, half of those people are in Australia because I'm Australian. So I don't even have everybody here that I used to do anything with. So you sell to, you know, your friends and family. And those first 3 weeks in a row, he sold 4 cases a weekend because everybody was like, this is awesome, right? So it's new, it's yours. They want to support you. I was part of Orange Theory at the time, you know, working out there. So it was obviously a perfect, you know, they love a drink. Great. Go get my drink. Right. Yeah. So that's where you start. And then
Chris,
you use the success that you have in that one store to go to the next.
So with that one store, 2 things. Were you self-distributing?
No. So I had to get a distributor first.
Right.
Who
So
was
I
your
want to hear
distributor?
about that because I'm sure you had to convince the distributor too. And then B, was it as easy as you put it on the shelf and then people like, oh, that's novel, that's interesting? Or were there samplings, were there tastings, were there forward-facing things that you kind of had to do to grease the wheels a little bit?
Sure. So I'll give you the first one on the distributor. Now, I have a background in hospitality. I spent 20 plus years as a restaurant GM. I was a restaurant GM for Echo Buckhead here in Atlanta. It's a massive 10,000 square foot location. We were doing well in excess of $7 million in revenue a year out of this one restaurant.
So you knew all the distributors and you knew.
I knew them all, but even then, that didn't help, right? Because I went to all of them in Atlanta. Here's the stuff. Here's the idea. Here's the vision. Here's the juice. Here's some free hats, right? Anything to grease the wheels. And there were a couple of distributors. Savannah, for example, is one of them. They're a great local distributor here in Georgia. They were like, it's cool, but we don't know how to sell it. We're confused. It tastes great, but how do I sell this to a store, right? And then some just would never even get back to you. It's like you'd meet the person at the front door. Great, we'll get back to you. We'll let you know when you taste. Crickets, gone. And then I managed to get a meeting with RNDC here in Georgia. This is obviously years ago before they imploded. But a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human. She is still with them in Georgia. I'm not going to name her, but she was fantastic. And she was like, look, you've got a great juice. She's like, all the execs stole the hats out of my office. She's like, so can I please get another one? And this is the first time we've had our whole tasting panel go, yes, yeah, this juice is great. And they didn't even have it in a can. At the time, this wasn't done yet, right? So they got this. They didn't even have the proper marketing. And this is the last bottle I have of this. This is the pineapple version that we did.
Funny.
But they were like, yeah, this is cool. Let's see what we can do with it. And then you can evolve from there, right? So they love the fact that a store bought us out 3 weeks in a row, all that sort of thing, and you just sort of grow from there. Now,
so you got into R&DC. Can you walk us through like your first year, like 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12? Were you like, how many accounts did you get in the first 6 months?
maybe 10, right? And I really mean maybe 10.
And you had R&DC, you got into 10 accounts in the first 6 months.
I had R&DC.
Thank you for saying that, by the way.
Which at the time, what are we now? Yeah, maybe 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. R&DC at the time was a $15 billion a year powerhouse, right? Mm-hmm. But their decisions don't always come from them. They come from the store itself. Now, I wouldn't say lucky, but I was very heavily invested in getting it into Total Wine, right? So 2 of those stores here in Georgia was Total Wine. And then I got onto I call it the campaign trail, where it was like, I'm in those stores, right? And that was also how I got into new stores, was I would come and do tastings. And that's where these things come from, right? Because
you got in those 10 stores. Go back to the 10 stores. I'm just curious.
Sure.
Because everybody wants like market-wide distribution. Market-wide distribution without movement or velocity means nothing. So those 10 stores you got, you were getting them to reorder. So those were 10 solid stores for you.
10 solid stores doing, at minimum, a case a week, right? And this is in January, right? So it's winter. This isn't really a drink that people are drinking.
But that's real velocity, real demand, real reordering. They're executing. Right. 10 stores reordering, focus on your brand versus having 100 stores with ghost distribution means nothing.
Right.
So I just think it's really important to emphasize that.
Look, even I made the same mistake where I was like, I want it everywhere. Focus on who has said yes, right? We are so focused as humans to be like, I'm going to make this person like me. Don't make them like you. It doesn't matter. If they say no, move on to the next store down the road. Like there's 500 liquor stores in the state of Georgia alone. 500. Why are you focused on the guy that doesn't want you?
Yeah.
Go to the guy that does.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, at some point, if they say no, just move on.
Right. And the thing, I think people don't lean into rage and anger enough, and that fuck you component, where I was like, okay, you said no. Great. I'm going to get so good, you're going to lose money by not having me. That was my mentality.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But then the guys that did bring me on, I was like, let's go, right? Let's do a tasting. Let's book you in for 6 of them. Let's get you some marketing. Let's give your staff some t-shirts. I would go all in on that single store.
Wow.
But then the store next door, I'd be like,
we had a guy named Bible T on, same story. He's like, your first store, treat it like the golden egg. He goes, I went in there every week, put shelf tuckers on, pulled up the shelf, built a display, and I never leave the store until I sold at least 1 can.
Yeah. Yeah. And that first store still stocks my product. I've got a tasting there. sometime next month, I think, and I'm still in there, right? And
How many
still,
how many tastings did you do last year?
Oh my God. I would say on average, I was doing 3 a week for at least 45 weeks. So whatever that
And
is.
all yourself? You doing them yourself?
Yeah, just myself. Yep. Just me. Just,
So over 150 tastings you did.
oh, easily. Yeah. Because I would do one. So Total Wine in Georgia doesn't let you wet taste, right? So it's a good opportunity just to put up a table and chat to people. So I would
Yeah.
do Total Wine, Alpharetta, or Kennesaw on a Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon in an actual liquor store, Saturday morning in a liquor store, Saturday afternoon / evening in a liquor store. On average, that's what I would do every single week.
I love that. I love that you asked that question, Sam, and I have one more. But first, the comment, and I'm literally taking notes as we're talking. My wife and I watched. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but we watched the documentary on Netflix last night for Noah Kahn, the musician, right? And it talks about his tour schedule and how he played, some 200 shows a year. And I'm thinking in my head, tasting schedules from brand owners' perspective are often like tour schedules for a musician. Like you're going to be at 250 events annually, right? Or some crazy fucking number, right? So Chris, I'm curious, and it's a simple question. I'm assuming based on just the way you're talking, you have a ballpark answer at least. If you had to guess between your time, product, merch, all the things per location, even for those first 10, how much money were you spending a month to build that location as a product mover for you, right? Are we talking like $1,000 a month, 10 grand a month? Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's I mean, I this was probably a bad way to run business, but I never kept a proper log, right? Because I truly didn't want to know.
Sure.
I'm like I'm just going all in, right? I don't want to digitize, I don't want to monetize. I just want to get it out there, right? But yeah,
Sure.
in when you think of it this way, right? So you do a lot of driving. So let's say 2 tanks of petrol, probably $80, right? And then I've got a
Yeah.
Mustang, so my it's not a big, big tank. So maybe $80 at minimum, right? You're going to go through, because it was really interesting and people would stop me or really want to taste because it's something brand new. I would go through at least 2 variety packs, right? So that's probably retail. That's at another $40. Plus, you're looking at my time. It's 3 hours a session. So 3, 6, 9, so 12 hours per week. So we're doing roughly 50 hours a week just behind a table in a liquor store doing a tasting, right?
50 hours a week you were spending behind stores tasting your product.
Yeah, 50. So 50 hours a month you would be just behind a table. That's not on a laptop.
Yeah.
That's not at your desk. That's not talking to people. That's just behind a table. 50 hours a month minimum, right?
A month.
Yeah, I mean, you're spending 12 hours a week at least, right? In a liquor store doing a tasting. If I
You're
ran my
currently over
GM
$1,000 for cost of demand.
easily, yeah. I mean, my GM salary was like 6.5 grand a month, so you can use that as the sort of the base or whatever I was doing, 7 grand a month. So you're spending 10, maybe $12,000 a month doing tastings, and you're not paying anyone. That's just you, right? You don't have a girl standing behind a table in Florida somewhere, right? You don't have. That's just me. That's just. And then all of this. These all cost money. So I've got the cards, which cost $1. I've got the stickers.
Stickers are big though, man. Stickers are big. I didn't get any stickers, by the way. I only got this.
Yeah.
Maybe I
You
did.
should
I
have
think
got,
you did.
everyone
Oh,
got
I've got
stickers in their box.
I
Everyone,
got-
everyone
I've
gets
It's-
stickers.
they should have been in the
I'll have
box,
to
man,
send
but
you
I've got
some.
extras.
And then it's I've got a big banner and I've got the table and I've got ice and I've got a cooler and I've got tasting cups that are, you got to buy them every time. And then I've got tablecloth, and I've got all the other bits and pieces that go on there. Like you are spending, yeah, I mean, you're spending over $10,000 a month.
So $10,000 to $12,000 a month to build demand on your product. So many people
Correct.
think, hey, I got RDC, I'm done. Hey, the distributor needs to go do it. No. Listen to what Chris is saying, everybody. He $12,000 a month that after I got distribution, I'm going to do it. But wait a minute, I'm giving the distributor margin. Shouldn't they do that? No, they're a delivery service. Do you want to
And
get into
here's,
that a little bit?
hey, here we go. You can also add this, right? So we provide an incentive for it to get on a shelf. So every case they put on the shelf. So wait a
But
second.
Chris, you're
I've
giving them like
sold
the
those four
25 to
cases.
30 points. You got to incentivize them now?
Right. So I've sold the cases. I've stood in the store. They restock it, and I then pay them for putting it in an iPad. How does make sense?
Yeah. What's the cost for a pod incentive? Like $10, $5? What were you paying for a pod?
I think I was doing $250 a case, no restriction.
Okay. Oh,
No
just
restriction.
like keep on, just go.
So if they put in 20 cases, great, they got
Yeah.
$50.
Yeah.
But I have paid for
No.
the freight, I have paid for the product, the ingredients, putting it all in a can. I've then shipped it to a distributor. Now paying to be in a store to sell it. I'm also paying the rep. It's like where do
But
I
wait
make
a
the
minute,
money?
RDC paying the rep? Why do you have to pay the rep too? Sorry,
Okay,
RDC, the distributor. I'll just take RDC out. But
Let's. I mean, they're having enough problems. We don't need to kick them while they're down.
no, I love them. They're great. They're good. But
So, yeah,
I mean, the
I
reality
think
is what you're
people
sharing, though.
understand-
The reality is, if you to build your product, it's not just getting distribution. You're going to have to go in the stores yourself, spend $10,000 to $12,000 a month to create the demand. That's the velocity and the pull through. Then two is to get the distributor to pay attention. You have to incentivize that rep because they have many brands in their bag. In order to pull that brand out of the bag to get them to pay attention, you got to incentivize them too. And yeah, the distributor is going to make their margin because they have to deliver it. So all in, just on an average monthly cost of that, what does that number look like?
I mean, you're adding another couple of grams. So, if you're doing decent movement like I was, right, where you're selling out stores and then the other side of it you don't see as well. So for charity events, I'm giving free product, right? So I'm giving away 5-10 cases a month.
Yeah.
So all in, right? You add all those little incremental bits more, 15 grand.
Yeah. So from a
And-
commercial standpoint, this is when they arrive with people like me, Adam and Chris, times 12. You're almost $200,000 just to build demand, and it's like, well, wait a minute, well, and I have to pay you too. I'm like, yeah, you have to pay me too.
Yeah, and that's where people get so surprised at your cash burn, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
that's where all these companies that go on Shark Tank and InBev investment and all these other investment arms where they want to know your cash burn. Okay, it's great that we're going to give you $1 million. How much of that is going to vanish and never come back?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's great that you might make $500,000 worth of product to sell, and that $500,000 is going to give us X amount of dollars back, but you are going to burn a whole bunch of that. And that's what people I think the general populace don't really realize, is there's so much burn. And I had somebody the other day reach out in my DMs. He's like, do you work with content creators? And I said, have you tried, mate? He's like, no, I just want it. Okay, so go buy it. There is a whole new breed of people coming through that are like, I've got 100,000 followers. You should be giving me product to drink
Right.
your drink.
Right.
No,
No.
you wouldn't do that to Jack Daniels.
Right.
You're not going to do that to Corona. So why do you think you can do it to me? So there's now, and I haven't played in that arena yet, so I couldn't give you a figure. But now there's girls on TikTok that are like, give me your product and I will look cute in a bikini in a pool.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
fact that
there's a
that
whole thing
component-
called clippers too, where you can. It's called clipping, so you can
Yeah,
participate for like 3,000
yeah.
bucks. You can get like 100,000 clips out in the marketplace. It's pretty, and it's like the people
Right.
like you're describing, and they just basically clip it, and then you have like little advertisements. You have like the koala running across the screen while they're talking the whole bit. I know a person that does it actually. Greg Needham, who was on our podcast, Adam, he does
Mhm.
a lot of that work with influencers. Can I get to some questions actually that I wanted to ask you? Is that cool?
Shoot.
Yeah. So let me.
Please.
So a couple things. Question number one: what's the biggest mistakes emerging brands are making trying to scale?
Spreading yourself too thin. So I made this same mistake, which is why I can explain it to you, right? So, for example, I'll use Mum Water. They're a great example. They are pretty much nationwide. They're probably in, I don't know, 35 states, maybe 40 states. They only do roughly 40 million a year. Carbless, who is now 7.5 years old, they were eight, right in the Midwest. They did 120 million last year. So
Is that why
I
Adam's
think,
driving the race
and
car? You know, he's into race cars now, man. He has like he's like living big. He's living.
he
He's
sure
I
is,
love
yeah,
him,
he's
man.
living his
Great.
best life. So I have nothing but props for Carbless. In fact, I'm copying their model right now because I decided to really double and triple down on Atlanta and Georgia as a whole. Right? Forget going this way. Let's focus on Georgia. So we're focused on pickleball sports, festivals, that sort of thing. So my learned failure, expensive learned failure, is focus on your state.
Okay.
Get your state down, saturated, every store, liquor stores, on premise, everything, and then go next door.
Gotcha.
Don't go from Georgia to New York, go Georgia to Alabama, or Georgia to Florida, or Georgia to South Carolina, right? Do that, and then that way you can bleed into and saturate that state. Market saturation rather than blanket shotgun market growth all day long.
So are you just in? Where are you located? Just Georgia right now?
No, so because I decided to try and go everywhere all at once, we have some scattered states around. So my wife's from Iowa, so we're in Iowa. Georgia is obviously our main state. We do special orders into North Carolina because we did a Spartan race event out there. So I've got licensing. We sell probably, I don't know, 20 cases a month out there to stores by special order. I don't do anything out there. It just comes through my email. And then we were doing some stuff in Florida with Total Wine. We've dropped our contract with LibDib because I wasn't really happy with it. But so we're looking for something new in Florida, but they're our states right now.
Okay, got it. So
Before,
another question is, so thank you for answering it. The
yeah.
truth is, we love Adam. As a matter of fact, when I was talking to him at MBWA, he told a story to a brand. I always talk about this, but Copa Tequila Cocktails, and he said in Wisconsin he was outselling Tito's 2-1. Number one, and then two,
Yeah,
he
you
said,
can do
he
it.
said
You
to,
know, I can do it.
yeah, he said to Nico. Nico's the founder of Tequila Copa Cocktails. Love Nico in Jersey. But he goes to Nico. He goes, what is your total opportunity? And you said this earlier in Georgia. He goes, and Nico goes, what's 1,000 in Jersey? He goes, well, how many accounts are you in? And Nico says 150. And he looked at him and he paused. He said, why are you here? You haven't hit your opportunity in your backyard. And it was just a really good message, which you just shared. So I appreciate that as well, because so many people want to grow really fast and go get the truckloads. But if you don't have the demand, and by the way, if you go to Florida, be prepared to spend $15,000 a month to create demand. Do you have the money to do it?
Every
That's
state
the cash
those
burn,
costs.
right?
Every state.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys, before
All
we
right,
get
thank
too
you.
long,
I got a couple. Go ahead. Sorry.
should we try it?
Okay.
Try one, yeah.
Another question here. I know you're going to have this because you were early on protein. Where are the real opportunities hiding in beverage in 2026?
So I genuinely believe the wellness adjacent space. So when we're talking about these new brands, Vodka Aid, Super Light, where they're electrolyte based,
Okay.
where the protein element, but I think that the FDA and the TTB have opened up some, sort of softer restriction capabilities to be able to head in that direction. I think non-carbonated is definitely still the way to go. I would stay away from lemonades and teas because basically 10 brands own all of it. It would be very difficult to get in there, I would say. But I think you've got to start with, you've got to do what I did, which is get a bunch of products and work out what you don't like about them to
Yeah.
then create what you do like. I think that's probably the best way. And then just be delusionally passionate about what it is that you're deciding to launch. So, if it's a bourbon, make the best bloody bourbon you can make. And I'm going to give a shout out here. So Matt Bruin, who is the CEO of Bondi Beer, okay, they are fantastic. I had talked about this forever. Obviously, I own this, so I wasn't going to bother doing it immediately. They have just launched Bondi Alcoholic Ginger Beer, and it is exceptional. We drink it all the time in Australia. They have just launched it. It is outrageously good. Okay, it is exceptional. He is a beverage master. He's helped launch some great big brands. I'm not going to take all his thunder about it, but he looked at America and was like, what do we have in the rest of the world that America does not? Alcoholic ginger beer. Made it.
Wow.
And just because Kylie Jenner is a good example of this, she launched Sprinter, RTD, seltzer, she because yes, she had the money, yes, she had the fame, but her product wasn't good. So whatever you make, focus on making it great. That
Yeah,
would
but
be
it's
my.
not good. You can maybe you get
Just
one sell,
focus
but
on
they're not coming back. Two more questions if
Yeah,
you could
and
do
that's
me.
what
Then
she
we
got.
have, and
She got
Adam can ask
400
me some
million
important
fans
questions.
to buy it once.
All right, so here a couple more questions. Since you're an
Well, hang on.
on-premise,
One thing. Adam, how's the peach?
I'm trying hard not to finish the can because it's 9 a.m. on a Saturday. But if you rewind, 60 to 90 seconds, you told me when we talked, you're like, people are always shocked at how good it is. I didn't expect it to taste bad. So we're clear,
Sure.
right? But the fact that yes, it's 4.5%. It's not 10, but like, I taste next to no alcohol, just a little bit, right? It's very smooth. There's not like
You
a
got
crazy
pineapple?
burn.
That's a good one.
It's not. It's not like. Yes, there's a sweetness factor to it, but it's not like fuzzy on my teeth, right? It's not like, oh my god, this is sugar water, right? The peach flavor comes through nice. It's full, but it's not like Jolly Rancher candy jammy, right?
Yep.
It's really well balanced, and then it's also not. And you know this, and Sam, I know you do too, and most of the people out there listening do. But like most protein products, and it's changed over the last few years. But again, you did this several years ago, so that's why I'm calling it out. You're starting to see now with products like Seek and some of the other powdered products, protein be able to be mixed with water and have that lighter, more citrus forward taste. Whereas for the longest time, all you could mix it with was milk or something that was more dairy based, because that was really the only thing that played well with it. And so even with some of the RTDs now, you're just now starting to see the tip of the spear mass market style on people doing like soda flavors or citrus flavors or things like that, because it's taken this long for, again, the world at large to get that flavor profile right, where the protein's not adding that weight and that heavy body and that mouthfeel. I know we're not going to do it on this call, and you do not owe it to me, but someday I would fucking love to hear you or your formulators tell it how the fuck you got here. because truly,
You and I can do that next week. We can get on a call and just chat about it next week. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, you're
Truly,
welcome.
no
We can do a happy hour and go through that if you want. So just let us know, Chris.
Right.
We can have to go.
It's like,
Nothing wrong with that.
Keep on that
And
stuff
what do you
for sure.
think of the pineapple? Obviously, Adam had the peach. You've got the pineapple.
It's amazing. I mean, there's no alcohol burn or anything. It's just a very. I can see I picture myself sitting on the patio, in an on-premise account, and just enjoying this, which is amazing. I don't like all the like everything tastes like the seltzer and all that. I just think that it bubbles in your stomach. I just like the fact it's just a simple drink. So I think this is definitely the way to go. But very good, tastes very well.
Good. Yeah, we got into a new location here in Marietta called West Park Tavern. It's like a new sports bar. Right? These guys own like 19 locations. Managed to grab hold of the owner. He's like, yeah, we'll give you a shot. So we went in. I saw the GM because I took a couple of cases with me for free to give to the staff. I was like, the best way they're going to understand it is give them one of these. They can have it in their apron and let them just have a drink. And she was like, yeah, we sold out last weekend. Good. Good. Order more.
By the way, just one of my questions about on-premise, but I want to show this. I've never seen this before, but the way you did this case where you can like open it up and close it back, I don't know if this is a thing, Adam.
Yeah,
and
reseal.
stuff, but
that's a thing.
this is really
Yeah.
badass. You can basically
Yeah.
take it out and then you can close it back. I think that's a really cool.
Yeah, Sam, that's-
I've never seen a like that.
That's some shit that the small brands of the world do when they can't afford fully glued cases because they're too fucking expensive.
Well, I'm just saying, but that's actually
Yeah.
like that better as a consumer because I can put it in my refrigerator and I can close it back and make it easier versus ripping it open.
Yeah, the small brands of the world do stuff that consumers enjoy. The big brands just go, you're going to buy it anyway. So
Yeah, just rip it open,
anyway,
dump it
please,
in the
you've got
cooler.
questions. So please.
All right, I got to ask. So you kind of answered it just now about the on-premise place in terms of they sold out. But what does it actually take to break into the U.S. on-premise channel with a brand like this? Like, what did you do to get those people to say yeah?
It's absolutely diabolical. It's the worst because, and I think we spoke about it off air when we first got on. We're like, yeah, we just get on a call, like just make a phone call. And I think, or I know now, people just don't answer their emails. They won't pick up the phone. They will be in a meeting. They don't want to say no to you, and they don't want to look at it, and they don't want to do their job. I even spoke to Taco Mac for the longest time here in Georgia. And it would take me weeks, absolute weeks, just to get a response. And it's like an email takes 12 minutes, 12 seconds. I was like, I hate to break it to you guys. I've been in restaurants for 20 plus years. I am abundantly aware of what you need to do. I was a GM of a multi-million dollar venue, and I was still faster at getting back to emails than you guys were. So I don't have a lot of patience for that kind of crap, and it's the kind of same thing that I said. Great, you don't want to stock me? Wonderful. I will invest in West Park. I will give it to the staff. I will give them some merch. I will throw them some cards, right? I will post about them. I will talk about them. I will send people there, right? This is the other side of it that I don't think beverage managers really remember. Why do you not go back to these venues anymore? Mm-hmm. Why do people not go to Red Lobster? Why do people not go to Outback? Why do people not go to Taco Mac? Because they don't change. They don't evolve. They don't grow. They don't offer new things. They don't do anything interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the same. It's the same playbook over and over again, and people are like, you know what? I've already had my lobster fest. I'm done.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. All right, one more question, and then Adam gets asked the most important question. What operators, founders, distributors, investors should be paying? What should operators, founders, distributors, investors be paying attention to right now?
So I did a LinkedIn post about this the other day where I kind of called people out and was like, you need to get out of the boardroom and into the marketplace. You need to be in the liquor store. You need to be at the festival. You need to get out of that 50th floor window And you need to come down to where everything's happening, because it's guys like me that are actually making cool shit. Like PepsiCo and Coca-Cola, let's use those because they're absolute conglomerates, right? They should have one or two guys on the street visiting everybody just to find out what's new. Because Long Drink was acquired by Mark Anthony Brands. This is not hidden news, right? They spent 325 million or whatever. I did a post about this the other day. Just to make back your 325 million at $10 per revenue of case profit, at spending nothing, they have to sell 1.4 billion cans to make their money back. But if PepsiCo or Coca-Cola found 10 of me and were like, we're gonna buy your brand for $5 million. Just go away, we're gonna buy it, right? They found 10 of me. There's 50 million. Invest another 50 million, which is basically behind the couch coins for them. If one brand makes it, it pays for all of it.
That could be their innovation pipeline, for goodness sakes, versus trying to just sit in the lab and make innovation.
Like
Go on the wild and see what's already working.
100%. And I think, I did another post the other day where I was like, on TikTok, everyone's like, as soon as they work out how to add protein to my margarita, my fitness goals are going to take off. As soon as they make a protein transfusion, as soon as they add protein to beer, as soon as they add protein to...
Well, I'm going for a walk, my 5-mile walk. I got my protein, man, for this morning. So.
Nice.
A little vodka, but hey.
They market it as the beer of fitness because they're low cal. Yeah. This one's got protein, right? Yeah. So I think what I would be saying, distributors are the same, not supply big guys like Diageo and Pernod, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, get out of your office, get out from the hour-long meeting, get out from the laptop and get out into the field, go to the festival, go and see that small guy that nobody's visiting and taste his shit because it's probably good. He just has no money. And I genuinely think if they did that, right? Talk to BevSource. Talk to the beverage formulation groups. Hey guys, have you had anything come through recently that we should be looking at? BevSource, everybody knew me at BevSource. I would make a phone call at BevSource and go, it's Chris from Make Beverage. And they'd go, yep. Who would you like to speak to? Everybody knew me there because I was doing something so out of left field that everybody talked about. They're the people they should be talking to. Not Body Armor, not Garage Beer with the Kelsey brothers, not these giant brands. That's for a reason. Go after those little guys because they are making cool shit.
This is such great advice. A couple of things is I'm going to make sure I know Adam we called out, but Alicia Vargo joined us this morning. Chris, Jennifer Hauk. Just good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Say hello to Chris. I'll let Adam ask the most important question that we always ask everybody. We're really interested in hearing your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so Chris, the question we ask everybody at the end of the show is, what's the difference between success and failure?
Oh, that's a personal decision, right? You've got to decide. Failure only comes if you decide to stop, right? Guys, there are more times where I've laid in bed and I've opened my eyes and I've gone, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I still doing this? Why am I doing this? And you get your ass up out of bed and you eat some breakfast and you have some energy drinks and you go to the gym and you're like, okay, like you force yourself. There's a guy who owns First Form. His name's Andy Frisella. Very, very, very successful man, right? He's got multiple companies. He's got a tequila company. He's got Form Energy. He's got, they've just come out with a protein shake. They've got all these supplements. Conglomerate out of St. Louis, Missouri. And he's like, yeah, everybody looks at me and thinks that I'm a high achiever. He's like, I hate doing this some days. And I'm the CEO of a $1 billion company. I hate it. Failure only comes if you stop. That's it. It only comes if you stop. Now, what's success? Well, that's also a personal definition. For some people, it's seeing the kids on a Tuesday afternoon and you can pick them up from school. That's great. I don't have that, right? My stepkids are 18 and about to be 20, right? So they have cars, they have entire lives without me. I think for me, and I said this in a podcast sometime last year, I was like, my success comes from, being able to get mate to a point where either I sell or it's making me enough money where I can go, you know what? My brother and sister kind of need some help, right? They want to buy their first home. They want to travel the world. The wife wants to be able to live in Manhattan at some point, right? She loves New York. She loves Manhattan. Her company's head office is in New Jersey. Okay, well, let's go buy a place in Manhattan. I think it's, my dream car is it's not the same car as most people. My dream car is a sports car. Great. I want to be able to buy what I want off the showroom floor, in the color, in the spec. Just because I can, right? I want to be able to, I've had a couple of people buy 1% of the company, right? To put some cash in because they think it's a cool idea. I want to make sure that I can give them a return, right? Success is very different for a lot of people, and I think it changes ultimately. But yeah, I mean, success is to be able to keep giving to charities like I already give to now. The wife turned around and said, I don't ever want to be paid back for the money we put in. She's like, I just want to be able to be on a yacht in Monaco. And I was like, okay, we're aiming for that too. Okay, so right, that would be a version of success. So yeah, I think for me, ultimately, it's being able to help my brother and sister and not even have to think about it. Help my friends, right? Give them some breathing room. And then, failure only happens if you make the decision to stop. And as long as you don't, stay in that rough, the world's falling down around me mindset, you can climb out. You can just keep going. So and even if you do decide to stop, like I have had a failed business in the past, I just learned from it. That's it.
There you go. Yeah. That's so powerful that you share that. Is there anything that we didn't cover today, Chris, that you want to share with us or everybody that's joined us this morning about your company?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably look. I would leave everybody with this. I think I had this conversation with a guy the other day. He's 36. He's been in the booze industry for a while. He's been a rep for a long time, and he was talking about, I think I might want to try and do something. I might want to try and do my own thing. I might want to try and do this. I said, look, this is the perfect time. You've built a base that you can sit on, and you should do everything you can in your power for your own business from at 36 to 44. Because at 44 and beyond, if it hasn't worked, you still have enough time to build for retirement. So use this time now. So if there's anybody on the call that is thinking about it, if they're unsure, have a few drinks and get started. That's how I started, right? Just have a couple of drinks. You've got all the ego
at
in the
1
world
o'clock
after a
on a
couple of
Sunday
drinks.
afternoon, and bring a napkin with you, and you're ready to go.
At 1 o'clock, right? At 1 o'clock, just go and and then when you had a few drinks, just start. And remember, you're not building an entire company. I wasn't building a company. I was building a drink. Can I make this drink real? Okay, well, now I've built the drink. Oh, shit, hang on a second. Now I've got to build this bit, and now I've got to build the marketing, and now I've got to build everything else. So
you just described taking off the plane. You may not have the controls embedded in it or the propeller, but just take the plane off, go for it, and build it as you go.
And that's what I would leave everybody with is just try. You've got
How
nothing.
do people find you, Chris? How do people find you?
So we're on Instagram, Mate Beverage. If you Google Mate Vodka Protein Water, or you can just Google Vodka Protein Water, we're the only one in America, so it's easy to find. Google has pages and pages on us. If you want to follow my, little life that I do, you can find me at Chris Wolstenholme. Be careful you don't follow the bass player from Muse. We are, We both call Christopher Woolston home, and we're the first two accounts that pop up. And other than that, I mean, you can go to my website if you want to connect. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active and very social on there.
What's your website? Is it mate.com?
It is. So Mate is a tool company here in America, weirdly enough. So I'm not allowed that one. So I have drinkmatebeverage.com.
Cool.
But if anyone wants to connect, you want to learn some more, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to get on a call and, for half an hour and just shoot the breeze.
Okay, did I get that right? Drinkmatebeverage.com?
That's it.
That's awesome. Well, really appreciate everything. Just kind of go around our room. Any closing thoughts, Adam? And then we'll go to Chris, and then I'll wrap it up.
Several. I mean, Chris, thank you again. This was so much fun. I really enjoy hearing your story and just what you've been able to do with something that, to your point, is highly unique. B, the two things that I took most away are you echoing a point that we've discussed on this show before, which is owning your backyard, being very diligent about it, budgeting appropriately for it, whether you're tracking those numbers directly or not, like having the money to support every store you open, right? And then I think the other thing, and this is something that I've started to get on my high horse about with other people, and you touched on it, is everybody I talk to, from consultants to bigger brands to even early stage brand owners, are like, well, if it's consultants, it'll be people saying like, well, I just want to do the strategy. And if it's brand owners, they'll be like, well, I just need somebody to help with the strategy and then I'll do the execution. And I'm like, you're both fucking wrong, right? You need somebody who knows what they're doing to do the execution. Now, in your case, to your point, you had the luxury of being a restaurant GM for 20 years. Execution was not a problem, right? But so many early stage brand owners are like, well, I'll do that part. I'm like, cool. With the zero experience you have ever having done it, how's that going to go, right? So those were my two main takeaways. But again, I enjoyed the shit out of our conversation. I'm super excited. I'm going to go make my wife try this because she's in the other room. And I will definitely be following up with you because I do want to pick your brain on some other shit just because I'm nerdy like that. But with that,
Sure.
Sam, what do you want to add?
Yeah, I just first of all, thank you for how authentic you are, and what you shared was really powerful in terms of what it takes to build a brand, and in terms of you had 10 accounts like your first 6 months in a marketplace, and you've invested over $200,000 to create demand, and I think those are just realities. By the time they go through operations and make the can and pay for the marketers, they arrive with someone like me. I'm a commercial guy, and they don't want to make the investment. They think, well, if I got distribution, all problems are solved. Get me into Breakthrough, get me into RDC, Southern Glacier Wine and Spirits. I'm like, you still have to pay to build your brand and demand. That's the toll you have to pay to get over the bridge, and that's the margin to get it delivered. But there's more investment to build it. So that rung true with me. And then just your resilience, man. I mean, it's just really cool. And your product, by the way, is super cool. I mean, I love on the back of the can. I don't know if I can get this to come in, but you actually say what's in it, which is really cool. Like,
Yeah.
let's see if I can get it there, but no, gluten-free, everything you described in the can, vegan, the whole bit. So, please go out there and find this, everybody. Or I'm assuming they can find you online too to buy the product as well.
Yeah, you can find it online, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Chris? Any closing thoughts before we say goodbye? And please remain on the line. Don't hang up.
Of course. No, look, guys, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. We will catch up again. We'll do another event where we can talk about the flavors and how we really put the formulation together so that people maybe understand it. But other than that, I think the only closing remark that I'll give everybody is just go out and try something fun. Just go and do it. Don't be afraid. Just go and do it. And who knows?
Yeah.
You might make something cool and end up on a podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm going to definitely be following you on LinkedIn because I'm all about just go, hit go, man. Just start. I had no idea what I was doing years ago, and I just started. I became an entrepreneur and started something. So thank you for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for joining us early this Saturday morning. Jeff, if I forget, Jeff did say one thing. Success to me is not how much money you make. It's freedom, being able to do what you want without too much worry.
There you go. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
So thanks, Jeff, for that. All right. So remain online. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.